notice more as I walk around a lot. There's a lot more like, well, people on drugs. Or at least it seems to be that way. Me can always sniff them out. I was an addict for many years, so I know what it's like. It's just a certain, I don't know, it's a certain vibe. Again, everything's frequency. But some of these people, you can tell they're just sloppy. And we always had our little problems here with drugs, especially meth. But it seems like it's just ramped up after the pandemic. Pandemic, it's so funny to call it that. It's like, you know what a pandemic is? You know what it used to mean? The band Psychotica, I think their third album was called The Pandemic. Look at that album cover. That's what it means. That's what it looks like. It's like a world-ending like situation. It's not something you bounce back from. But they had to call it that because they have rules in place amongst themselves. Like I talk about how evil, they can't just do shit however they want, willy-nilly. They have their own system of rules in place, cosmic spiritual rules that I don't understand why, but they have to follow these things. Even the laws they write into place, which are all, you know, satanic laws of man, don't mean anything really in the greater scheme of things, but to them it does, you know. And they had to call it a pandemic in order for certain things to happen, in order to have certain freedoms to do what they want, to unlock certain abilities for themselves on the skill tree. Just kind of like 7-Eleven was an inside job, like the same thing. They, to get the Patriot Act going, you know, they had to have that kind of threat, and they got to post it to the people and then try to get the people behind it. Really, you know. God, do you see that? I don't. I try to, you know, try to sympathize with them. I'm lucky God has blessed me so that I'm not one of them. But yeah, they have to do certain things a certain way, so they had to call it a pandemic. But in fact, I think they even changed the definition of it. I know they changed the definition of the shot. They changed the definition of that. Changing definitions is just part of the Orwellian history reality rewrite that they do. You know, they do that a lot. It's all right. We know what's right and what's wrong. Our society likes to push it. This gray area thing. They love especially in pop culture, they love their anti-heroes. They're guys he just has had enough and he's gonna go kill everyone. You know. I'm not, you know, I can buy into the vigilante trope myself. I like the Batman stuff. I'm a comic book fan. I get that, but it seems like it's more prevalent now in the pop culture area than ever before. And pop culture, unfortunately, is American culture in current year, and it extends not just beyond its characters or its stories or myths. It's kind of gotten into the you know, the bones of society, that everything is gray and people are gray, and it's more interesting to be gray. I don't know. I don't think so. Sometimes it is, but when it comes to certain issues and certain things, there's no gray for me. And if you're trying to push that too hard, if the lady doth protesting too much about it, kind of makes you wonder. It's like, well, why do you want to blur those lines? You know, there are certain things like either, you know, and it happens a lot with occultism. I'm a little different in my approach to all of it. I'm not one of those satanic do as willed people, or the enlightened man is above good and evil. No, I don't. That enlightened man that is above good and evil, he just wants to fuck kids, and that's it. Because that's what it is. It's like, if you don't want to, you know what good and bad is. It isn't this nebulous thing. You can see what good is, and you can see what bad is, and you know, it's not confusing to me. That's the thing. I won't, you know, talking like that. I won't fit in any. I don't fit in any tribe, which is fine. I'm tribalist. I think that gives me a better, a more freer perspective. It also makes my appeal more selective. You know, that's why I'm where I am. The yeah, but the drug thing, man. I see a lot of people just really succumbing to that lifestyle, you know, and it's like, I wonder what, well, since of course it's a financial thing. Since the pandemic, a lot of people have, you know, lost all their money or been put onto the street. And with Hawaii, we have a problem here, a specific kind of problem where people will come here and they'll have like a job lined up. And if all you have here is a job lined up and you're going to move here, you're going to end up on the street. Full stop. When I moved here with Nia, our intention was to stay 6 months tops. One of our family members on her side was, we felt on the way out. She had dementia, Alzheimer's, and we had just spent a couple of years with my mom, living with my mom with that. Ultimately, my sisters, when she got too out of hand, my sisters took control of her because they felt like to get away from me, because I was running out of patience with her. And at the time, they didn't believe there was anything wrong with her. They thought it was because I was crazy. Yeah, my family didn't deal with my mental illness diagnosis that well. When you first get diagnosed, right? Like, what was that? 2012? 2008 was my first big one. And then 2012 was the one I really think I suffer from the most, which is the DID. That's when I got that. I think that's when they really figured out what was going on with me. At first, they gave me the schizophrenia diagnosis in 2008. I'm all over the place. How many stories am I telling today? But that's how it goes here, you know. But I think they gave me that diagnosis off the bat because of my family history. It was on both sides. And really, the only thing I was doing was kind of talking crazy. Well, crazy to them. You know, their idea of crazy. I was talking like I talk now on this channel, talking about that kind of stuff. And they were getting nervous about it. The veil was starting to come apart for me. And I was starting to just see things, understand things. And instead of keeping my mouth shut about it, I was trying to tell everybody. And my sister took me to see a, what do you call those people? A clinician of some kind. What they do is they do a test on you to see how you are or something. I forget what they're called, but it's a woman in an office that I went to go see, and she brought me there at the health clinic just to do like an evaluation, but it has a certain name, but I forget what it is. And I just told her what was going on, or what I was seeing and what I was experiencing, and how sometimes things felt like it was a script, and I was just like, all the stuff I see here. All the stuff I see here. So, but this was early days. Like, no one was talking like this. Not in my circles, not in anyone I was aware of. Not really even online, you know? And, so she's like, yeah, hang on a minute. She went and talked to my sister. And then when they brought me onto the room, she's like, what we're going to do is we're just going to take you to do an evaluation. Just to see how you are. We're going to go to this hospital, blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. I'm like, well, let me go by my apartment first, pick up some stuff. And I was meeting Nia for the first time that weekend. We had a date, right? So she's like, well, we're just going to take you from here. I'm like, what about my clothes? She's like, oh, and my sister's like, we'll bring it. And then it started to dawn on me. It's like, oh, they're putting me away. So I was like, all right, well, obviously, you didn't know what they're talking about. I wasn't as strong in my convictions about knowing what was going on at that point in time, and I just assumed maybe there was something really wrong with me, and they can see it, and I can't. Hell, these people went to school for it, right? They had those papers on their walls that are framed, right? I didn't know if someone still owed money on those papers, and for fear of having them taken away, they had to do exactly what the gang said to do. And all doctors are in a gang. different gangs, but it's all in a gang. So the gatekeeping gang, they keep you on the script here. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I went along with it. I don't think I could have, you know, I wasn't going to get out of doing it anyway, but they kind of made me think it was my choice. They were taking me no matter what. And that sunk in when two big guys showed up and kind of escorted me out. They weren't touching me, but they were on either side of me, so I couldn't run. And they got me to an ambulance, and I had to lay down the thing. We're just putting you in this, just, you know, because for insurance purposes, we don't want you to get hurt in the back of the ambulance. Like, all right. So then they strapped me down like fucking Alice Cooper. And I'm just laughing. I'm like, this is insane, you know. I guess I said the wrong thing. And I went for the first time. And it was great. I didn't have a problem with it. The thing is, when you're in there, right, they treat you like a 4-year-old. How you doing, Jimmy? Can we do anything for you today? You know, there's ice cream in the rec room. Yeah, that's cool. All right. So they try all these kind of new drugs on me. I get to walk around in socks. It was in the wing of the hospital. I mean, they don't have those big old asylums anymore or anything like that. It's like a psych ward. You know, I was in a psych ward. And it was nice. It wasn't like dingy or anything. It was nicely kept. But there were bars everywhere. You had to be let in and out of places. And I had a roommate who was super nice. He was one of the last guys in the country, I guess, at the time, that they were doing the electroshock lobotomy, frontal lobotomy things too. And he was cool, but at night he would devolve into this crazy laughter. Like the fucking Joker. I'd be sleeping, though, trying to sleep. And he'd be just like roaring. Ah! I mean, man. And then to wake up the next day and see him and be like, hey, how's it going, man? Like, good. He was real nice to me, though. He was like nice. Everybody was. All the other inmates were really cool. Inmates, patients, I guess. Well, they were. I mean, none of us were going anywhere. And the thing is, like, I had trouble sleeping there because what they do is they had 15-minute checks and 20-minute checks. At night, it was 20-minute. So you'd be laying in bed, and every 20 minutes, a nurse has to come by with a clipboard to make sure you're in the same spot. Or just make sure you're there. And during the day, the 15-minute checks would come around and say your name. I'd look over at me and go, Jimmy? They're like, yeah. They're like, all right. And then they go away. 15 minutes later, this goes on all day. Get used to it. Get used to a lot of things. So, at night, that was the toughest because I'd just about be asleep. And they'd come in the room, the light would flood the room. I got a Joker over in the corner going off, usually, too. So that was a little rough at night, so I'd go to the nurse's station. Excuse me, pardon me. I'm trying to like this fucking thing. I gotta keep my security system on. The cigarette is very much part of my security system. People will avoid me when I have it. So I'd go to the front desk and try to calm the nurses into giving me some Tylenol PM. They're like, you know, we're not supposed to do this, but I'm like, I know, but look, you know what it's like. I always had that. I thank my dad for that shit. So anyway, I get my Tylenol pass out, but then you're up at like 6 in the morning. They have these things that all day. I guess this turns into a fucking nut hut story, like the nut hut, where you have scheduled kind of group meetings. You have one, there's like one at 6, one at 8, like every other hour. In the morning, I think it was like 9 o'clock. What was the first thing? Let me think about it. First thing was you go get your blood taken every day. And they had problems finding blood in my arms. Like, I don't know why, it's like that. So they had to go through my hand. So I go get blood taken out of my hand. Then I'd line up for meds. Everybody get excited about lining up for meds. Like, people would definitely all go to that. That was the only thing everyone went to every day. Now, from the moment I was in there, they were already trying new stuff on me, new kinds of stuff. I just kind of went along with it. I didn't know anything back then. They caught me at a time when my trust in the system was very high, because I hadn't really looked into any of it. I'd been in a band like for, it's 10 years prior. I quit in 2008 or 2007, and then I was in the Nut Hut in 2008. But prior to that, you know, I'd been in a fucking band my whole life. I didn't know anything about this stuff. So I'm just going along with them. And they'd line up and get the meds. And then after that, it was like, okay, there's a group at 8 o'clock. And you'd go in there, and today's group is about, they'd have different things. Like we'd watch a TV show and have the right little thing on it, what we saw. Or it would be some kind of exercise. It was all like just really simple stuff. But I took it seriously, you know. Oh, you get a menu too. And every morning you get a menu for what you wanted for lunch. The night before, you had to say what you wanted for breakfast. They gave you like a choice of things. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, you know, it's hospital food, you know. But at least they gave you some kind of choice of what you could eat. And then they had a staff that worked there, and they'd come in and, you know, they'd try to, in these groups, they'd try to teach you something or tell you a lesson. They were all like clinicians. A lot of them were like students that were new, so it was a lot of young people. And then they had certain like doctor days. Like certain days the doctors would come in, and again, it was a lot of students, a lot of like people. And then basically you'd go from one doctor to another doctor all day, and they'd just study you, ask you questions, and there were tests. They did like IQ stuff and all this other kind of, you know, you'd have to fill out forms. And I think I said it before, almost every one of these fucking things, right? Every time you fill out something, one of the last questions is always, do you believe you have superpowers? And I used to laugh. I'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's people bonkers, you know, they really think they have superpowers, huh? Not knowing that what they're trying to do is to see if your latent abilities as a energy being was actually seeping through, because it's all about gatekeeping. The doctors don't know it, of course. They think they're doing something good, and a lot of them do get into it. It's a noble profession. They want to help people. I don't think any of them are bad guys. I didn't have any bad experiences with my clinicians at all. They all seemed very earnestly trying to help you, you know, and got along with them well. But the system they're working for is just trying to see how far out of the matrix you are, as far as understanding what you really are, and then get you back into the matrix and back on script by taking a variety of different scripts, you know, putting you on a variety of different scripts. So yeah, the one day you'd see all the doctors, and they'd come in. I learned some cool stuff from them. Like, one of the doctors told me about Salvador Dali. He would get his best inspiration in that in-between awake and sleep period. He says what he would do is he'd sit in a chair with a spoon in his hand and just kind of think about stuff and try to glean inspiration. And when the spoon would hit the floor, it would wake him up, so he would know he fell asleep. So he'd pick the spoon up again and try to get in that headspace. He also did a lot of drugs too, so I mean, who knows with him. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff like that, you know. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. I walked around all day in my socks. They had like a game room. They had a TV room. They had a kitchen that was like open till 1 in the morning, with just all snacks, stuff that's bad for you. Just like Pop-Tarts, ice cream. You just go there and just get whatever you want. But everyone else in that place, man, they were all similar to me in a way. Like when we got talking about something, a subject, especially things that people would consider conspiratorial, we were all on the same page. I remember one of the first memories I've had of that place was going in when I was in intake, coming in, doing my paperwork. They'd taken the strings out of all my clothes and deciding what I could have and what I couldn't have. And there was an old woman strapped to a bed in her room, and she's screaming about Sirhan. That was the guy, supposedly, who was involved in the whole Kennedy killing thing. Sirhan killed the guy that killed Kennedy. So they that was a sloppy job massage. But we weren't used to, we were so naive at the time as a people that we never thought they would do something like that, like as far as try to rig reality. And they did, but she saw through it, you know. And there are people that have seen through it throughout history, and they should just put them in fucking mental institutions or call them the town crazy or the manic street preacher, you know. Fucking good band. I've been listening to them a lot lately. The Generation Terrorists, Holy Bible, all that early shit's great. Not so much into the newer stuff. It's a little bit too Coldplay for me, but you know, sound like Patrick Bateman now. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. The first when I was in there, I mean, I subsequently had other, you know, problems, and it took a while to figure out what the hell was going on with me. But initially, my family was like, "Yeah, well, yeah, man, we're doing, you know, all the stuff they're gonna do," and then when you start, when the symptoms start appearing, and you do something wacky, and I never did anything too wacky, you know. Nia saw a lot of weird stuff because she was living with me at the time, where I'd break from reality and someone else driving the bus. But it was a lot of spiritual stuff too. I was an atheist at the time, but I had these meltdowns, and I'd start talking in these weird devil voices and drawing pentagrams and stuff, and talking shit about Jesus, and then I'd come out of it and she'd tell me about it, like, I don't even believe in any of that. So that kind of makes me think there was some kind of spiritual thing going on too, like low vibrational, as being inhabited by something, you know. But yeah, when and I don't blame my family. They just didn't know how to deal with it. So what they did is they did what a lot of families do in throughout history when they have someone that goes off script. They just totally disassociate with them. And I was kind of left at the gas station, no contact at all, because they didn't know what to do. I don't blame them. It's just a lot of work. It's like, you know, some people can deal with that. Some people can deal with that, but other people just are like, they don't know what to do. It seemed like too much work, you know, and that was kind of it. So I didn't really have a lot of I'm in touch with them now that I live in Hawaii. When I moved here, right, I kind of got in touch that they all kind of want to talk to me again, because they knew I was far enough away from them to cause them any trouble. Whatever. To be honest, I never felt like I belonged with them anyway. It was a good situation to grow up in, and I think there is a certain thing to be said about you choosing your own family or where you wanna your point of origin. And I think that was perfect for me. Living with them was perfect for me. But I never felt like I was one of that tribe. I don't feel like I'm part of any tribe, you know, which is fine. But yeah. So being in that situation is what drove me into using drugs. Taking pills all the time, I came across opioids, and I was like, oh, this is good. I like this. I'm going to do this. And that was before the whole opioid craze started. I got in there and got out of it at the perfect time. I got in when no one knew what it was, really, or what was happening. So I'd go into hospitals and she'd say, oh, I fucking have a bad toothache, you know. I was always having like constructive surgery on my mouth and all this stuff. I was always having problems with my teeth. So I was like, yeah, I got, and they'd be, oh, okay, here you go, here's some Percocet. So you know, it's illegal to do that. That's doctor shopping. But I didn't understand that at the time, you know. But I got out of it, thankfully. I was delivered from that. Kratom got me out of that. Kratom's great. I still take Kratom. I still take a Kratom coffee every day. Because what it does is it keeps you from the urge. I mean, I don't even know if the urge would be there anymore. Eventually I want to get completely off the Kratom too, but, you know, I'm scared. I'm scared I'd get off the Kratom and be like, hey, you know, I haven't had pills in years. Just go check it out, try it, see how it is. But I don't think I'd do that, because the thing about God, once you start you deliver yourself to Him and you give Him control, He kind of keeps you away from that stuff. He kind of guides you. Like I was saying that yesterday, like when you're on the road and you're going off the road, He kind of pushes you, you know, back on the road in subtle ways. Sometimes not so subtle ways, but yeah. Finding strength in Jesus Christ is, I mean, it's everything, man. I mean, I don't know, I'd be here without that. Thanks for spending 20 minutes with me. Or 25. No, it's not as exciting as some days, but you know, that's what I got for now. I appreciate everybody commenting too. I always like talking to you guys. And if you haven't talked to me, yeah, say something. If you got like input or something, or you want to ask a question, or anything, about any of these subjects. I know a little bit about all the stuff I talk about. I know a little bit about all of it. But if you want to get deeper into some of these subjects, I point you in the right direction. Until then, until next time, until probably a couple hours from now, don't blame the teacher, blame the school. Your ducks are sleeping. Just sleeping, hon.